Assignment 2, conflict management. So, what have I learnt about dealing with workplace conflict? So, in the second half of the course, something that stood out to me was how important it is for leaders to create a culture that doesn't just react to conflict, but actually prepares for it. So, the idea shifted how I think about my leadership role as a coach. It's not just about resolving conflict when it happens, it's about building a team culture where people feel safe in bringing things up early and having a voice in what they in the whole team's culture, and where also disagreement doesn't feel threatening. So one of the concepts that stuck with me was the idea of psychological safety as a coach. I've realised that when players or coaches don't feel safe speaking up, issues can simmer under the surface and explode a bit, which is usually in the mid part of the season or right before games that are about to happen. So I started being more intentional about checking in with players, encouraging feedback both ways, and modelling how to disagree in the correct ways. So we also discuss conflict resolution strategies, like maybe meditation could be one, negotiation, and especially like problem solving, which was a big one, and how leaders should adapt their approach depending on the people involved. For example, how I handle conflict with a senior assistant is different than how I would handle it with a player on the team who's still learning how to process some emotions and feedback in a way. So another takeaway was the importance of not jumping in too quickly to supposedly fix things, and sometimes just giving people space to express themselves, do their thing without trying to solve it right away. It's a pretty powerful move for a coach, I think, because if you let the players express themselves, that's sometimes a place where they blossom and become a lot better. So a specific example was a situation we had in the season. We had one of our captains who had been a leader on the team, obviously, but this year the attitude of the player was a little bit iffy. They questioned a couple of decisions in front of players and had a hard time accepting feedback. So I thought they were just frustrated and would cool off after, but as the season went on, their behaviour started to get a little bit in the way. Some players sided with them, other players were the other side, so it was a bit uncomfortable. Like, everything was a bit more tense. There was groups, the chemistry was a bit off as well. Like, everything was a bit split apart. So we spoke about this as coaches, and some wanted to bench them and confront them directly in front of the team, but I feel like that would have escalated things personally. And I remembered from the class, it's important of separating the person from the problem and try and understand like deeper issues. So we ended up setting up a conversation with this player, asked open questions, listened to what they said without jumping in, defending ourselves. And it turned out there was a lot of pressure on this player to perform and be the leader of the team. And he felt like he didn't have the clear role of being the person to look up to, and we felt like they were acting out of a bit of fear maybe. And the conversation helped everyone really reset. We able to got them back into the values of who they are for our team, why they're so important, and we sort of helped them work on the leadership roles a bit, and ended up finishing the season strong. And more importantly, everyone in the team was more together and as a whole again. So how does this material you've learned in the second half of the class apply to the experience? So the whole experience would have been a bit different if I hadn't learned what we did in this course. So I used concepts of empathetic listening, something we practiced in class. So it made us slow down and focus on what the players' feelings were, not just what they was doing, instead of labeling them as the problem. We were able to get to the bottom of the behaviours and change how everything was approached. So we also thought that the conflict styles worked on, like avoidance, competition, accommodation, etc. Earlier on in my coaching career, probably would have leaned towards avoidance, hoping the issue would have faded on. But in the case now, I've aimed for collaboration, finding a win-win solution where everyone feels valued in that, and we are protected as a team. And I sort of apply principles of managing conflict with emotional intelligence. It's not just about staying calm, it's about being able to read emotions correctly and lead through the complexity of, like, the awareness of has been sort of one of the biggest things I took away. So they didn't just, the tools from this class, they didn't just help me manage the conflict, they helped me grow as a leader, I believe, and I have more purpose when I try to coach and go about these things. And it's helped me reflect on certain situations. And conflict isn't an easy thing, but it is definitely something that's workable, especially in sports a lot. So it's not something that I need to fear, it's something I need to not want in a way, but it needs to be there for everyone to be able to develop and be a lot better at what they want to be better at.